Hello and welcome to the Destiny 2 livestream overview. Now there's a lot of information to go over, so I'm just going to jump into it. Starting off, there's a new loadout system. The old system of primary, secondary, and heavy weapon is gone and is replaced with kinetic, energy, and power weapons. Kinetic is anything that's non-elemental. Energy is elemental weapons, so if you have a arc revolver or something along those lines. And then the power weapon is a strange slot because it's heavy weapons, but also snipers, shotguns, and fusion rifles. And depending on how they have the ammo pools and ammo drop rates show up, that may not be good for players. So we'll see how that pans out in the future. And jumping from the new loadout system is new weapons. There is a minigun, a single-shot grenade launcher in the style of the M79. There is a rotary grenade launcher like the M32. There are submachine guns, and there is something rather interesting I noticed, and that is the mod slot for weapons. Now, they didn't say what this is or what it'll do, but I think it's going to be pretty interesting down the line. We're going to get new exotics. And one of the exotics is a rocket launcher that it appeared 2 years ago as a data mined weapon for the Taken King expansion, but was dropped. So it's nice to see that that's coming back. And then I don't know if old exotics are coming back or not, nothing was said, but it's reasonable to assume that they would bring back the old exotics, since if anything they would just need to be tweaked a little bit. There's also some interesting things going on with the abilities. Now, if you look at the picture here, to the far right, there's a third ability, and that isn't your super. Your super is on the far left. Now, from what I've seen, Titans seem to be able to make an ice wall. This is both either a full cover or half cover object. And then Warlocks can make an area that I'm not able to tell, but it either boosts armor, or it makes the player ethereal and able to just avoid bullets. Either way, that's pretty cool. Then we have new supers. The Dawnblade, which Warlocks fly around with a flaming sword shooting flames at people, and honestly it just seems like the Hammer of Saul redone and given to the Warlocks. The Sentinel, which turns Titans into Captain America. You get a shield that blocks, and you can throw it and bounce it off enemies. And then the Arcstrider, which I feel really sorry for hunters, because from what I can tell, it's Blade Dancer, but now you get to be Pole Dancer. That's all I can tell from it. Now, with these new abilities and weapons, also comes new planets. First, it's not really new, but it's also sort of new, is Earth. Now, we're not in Russia anymore, we are in fact in the European Dead Zone, which, according to the devs, is the largest location they've ever made, and following the destruction of the last city is the remaining human refuge camp. Then comes Io, the moon of Jupiter, which honestly looks a lot like Venus in its design, and was the last place touched by the Traveler before the collapse. Next we have Titan, a moon of Saturn with methane oceans, offshore oil platform-style buildings, and this sinking utopia city made by humans at the peak of the Golden Age. Finally, there's Nessus, a planetoid occupied by the Vex, transformed by the Vex. It looks a lot like the Black Garden from Mars. We've also got new information for new enemies. There's a Cabal Flame Trooper called the Incendior. The Cabal melee unit I had mentioned prior in my last video is called the Gladiator. The Cabal Phalanx has been reworked and has its riot shield now an energy shield that can expand left and right. I don't have a picture of it, it was from another YouTuber, but that seems to be pretty interesting and can offer a lot more of a threat than the old Phalanx, which had the magical power of just hitting you and screwing physics up to the point where you get launched 500 miles an hour at a wall. Then finally, the Hive Knight seems to have a few changes to his appearance, but nothing was really mentioned or shown in that regard past a very brief section of him dying. And speaking of meaningful, clans are finally in the game. It's not just some crap you have to do externally on their website, it's in-game. You can join clans, you can be invited to clans, Clan member actions contribute to an overall reward system. It looks great. Bungie also made changes to PvP. They made all game modes 4v4 and made it so players can look at an enemy and see if they have their super active or if they've picked up energy ammo. Then they added a new game mode which is called Countdown. It's essentially Counter-Strike or Call of Duty Search and Destroy. You plant a bomb, wait for it to detonate, and then you win or you kill the opposing team. You switch roles and do that again and again. Now, Destiny 2 is going to launch with new strikes, nightfalls with new modifiers, and a new raid. And on top of that, you don't need to go to orbit to do these things. You can open up a map and actually select them there, instead of having to stop, go to orbit, pick the thing, go back into the same planet you might be on. And going with that, going on to planets has changed as well. Patrols are different. You now have adventures, which are side missions given out by NPCs, treasure hunts, which is when an NPC will mark a spot on your map and you have to find that spot to get some treasure, and there's lost sectors, which are areas put on the map that happen to actually be dungeons, with loot chests at the end protected by a boss. Now, speaking of nightfalls, I noticed this in one of the screenshots, and I think it's really interesting. If you look, there's an item mentioned called the Nightfall Pass. Now, I'm not sure what this does, Bungie didn't touch on it, but it seems like it might be an item needed to allow solo players to join groups for Nightfalls, or it might be something that allows you to buy into a Nightfall multiple times in a week. I'm not sure how it functions, and we'll just have to wait and see on that. And one other interesting thing is they've added guided games. This is essentially matchmaking for solo players to find clans and groups to run with for trials, for raids, strikes, nightfalls, everything. Now, the final bit of information is for PC players, and that is that the logins and everything related to the PC version of Destiny 2 will be handled by Blizzard. And with that, I have said everything that I can. That is all the information from the live stream, from other YouTubers, everything I could find. If I happen to miss something, please let me know, put it in the comments. I want to hear what people have to say. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.